Today we are going to talk about Chapter 5.3, Matplotlib library. So Matplotlib library is a library basically we use to draw graphs for our paper, for our report. So to learn a new library, the basic thing we must do is to check the official website. So to find official website, search for Matplotlib library in Google, and this one. So here you can find documents and tutorials. I highly recommend that you check the usage guide here. It talks about all the most basic aspect for learning Matplotlib library. It's not a long guide, so I recommend you reading it. So I want to introduce some of the most important concepts of the Matplotlib library. So this the most basic and most important concept here is figure axis and axis. Figure axis axis. So figure here, it has pointed out the figure is the whole figure, keep track of all trial axis. So this one will be a figure. And the next important concept is axis. So axis is actually the axis which contain data. So it's a absolute object contain data point, contain the data. So one figure you can have multiple axes which contain your data. And then this one axis, this is about this called, how to say, it's about this axis. So it's about how to set the labels, and so how to set the labels here, so you can define with this axis. Just refer to the document if you want to learn about it. So those are very important concepts which may be used when you are doing programming with Matplotlib library. Okay, so next so important concept will be title as label y. So this is all the small part of a complete figure. So for example, here title here, major click, y axis label, x axis label. So it's all introduced in the official website. Just I have a code here, so let's run the sample code. So this is my sample code. So normally this is like paradigm. We use import matplotlib library.pyport splt. This is a paradigm. Just write something like that. It's okay. And just no need to just leave it out, this part, because it is just randomly generate some data to plot my figures. So here is the important part. So this part, it used the important concept of figures. So you can see that I generate a new figure for each subgraph. Then I do a subplots, and SS1 and SS2 are two of the I demonstrate those two lines. So I use SS1 to plot the green line here, and use SS2 to plot the blue line. And then I set X as a Y label, the first Y label here, GDP growth rate, and then the other Y label. And I also set the X label here, it's year. And I also set the title, GDP and GDP growth rate. So there's the title. So this will be a very good examples for complete figures, complete figure. And besides these figures, there's also many other figures which can be used, which can be plotted with Matplotlib library. So here, so we can do plot, plot bar, another plot bar. You can specify the x-axis and y-axis. And here, scatter plot, and bar chart, pie chart, and histogram. So Matplotlib library can be served as a very powerful tool for you to write your thesis, write your papers, and write your report for course or for other for publication. And besides, when I'm writing my papers, so for example, one day I want to draw some of the figures, and the figures I don't know how to draw it. And so what I can do, or what you can do, is to track the examples here one by one and see which graph you want to draw. And for example, here just look it around and go back and you find maybe you want to draw this graph you want to show this graph in your thesis or in your paper. And what you can do is you can study the examples and then just change the parameters and the titles and other labels which you can show, and just change those parameters to demonstrate to draw your figures. So this will be a very easy way for you to use Matplotlib library. So this is how you learn how you use Matplotlib library to draw a graph in your paper.